Is the kind of dad everyone wishes they had, responsible, loving, the type who would somehow get you GTA 6 before it even officially launches. He's that dad. But life isn't fair, and suddenly everything begins to change. His wife no longer treats him the same, his daughter barely speaks to him, and to make things worse, one day, he sees his wife having dinner with another man. Mark tries to convince himself he's just overthinking it, that maybe he's confused, that the man is just a friend. Just a friend, right? But then he sees them together again, and again, and again. And the worst part, his daughter calls that man Dad. That night, his daughter gets into an accident. Mark runs to the hospital in a panic, only to receive another devastating blow. He can't donate blood. He can't donate anything.
Because he isn't her biological father.
Confused, furious, broken, he confronts his wife, and she tells him it's all his fault. "You neglected me," she says. "You didn't buy me what I wanted. You didn't give me the life I deserve. I'm a high-value woman." So she had to find a high-value man, because that's what she deserves. When his daughter is finally discharged from the hospital, Mark asks for custody. But even his daughter looks him in the eyes and says she likes her new dad better. She doesn't want a poor father.
Shut up!
Devastated, Mark returns to work only to find his boss waiting for him, furious. According to him, Mark is responsible for a large sum of money that went missing. He's fired that same day. Taking advantage of the situation, his wife files for divorce and she wins. Now Mark has to take whatever jobs he can just to pay off the debt from his former workplace and child support for a girl who isn't even his daughter. After everything he's been through, Mark falls ill, but he doesn't even have enough money left to buy medicine. One night, in what feels like his final moments, a vision unfolds before him. His boss and his wife had planned everything from the very beginning, from making him take responsibility for the girl, to falsely accusing him of stealing money. Mark feels nothing but sorrow, the kind of sorrow you feel when you're forced to watch your own life collapse from the outside. But just as everything seems lost, the shadows shift. A strange man steps forward from the darkness. "You may call me the guide." The man asks Mark a simple question. "Are you satisfied with your life?" "Of course not," Mark answers. The guide shows him different options, worlds where he can obtain the life he always dreamed of. Mark sees a world of robots, of space, of infinite stars. And he remembers that was what he loved as a child. He chooses that world. And in that moment, he makes a vow to himself. He will never be a good person again. He will become a villain, one who punishes everyone. Life has taught him that being good is the cruelest punishment of all. Mark signs the contract. Instantly, he is transported into his new life. He reincarnates as the crown prince of the Kingdom of Neverland. His new name is Liam. And on that very day, it is his birthday. His mother gives him an incredible gift, a robotic assistant that he can modify however he wants. He can modify everything. His father gives him a modest present as well, the entire mansion, and declares him the new king of the kingdom. His parents tell him they must leave, they will live in the capital from now on. The robot they bought will take care of him. Liam couldn't be happier. This is everything he ever wanted. Meanwhile, back in the human world, Mark's wife and his former boss do not get their happy ending. The guide makes sure the truth comes to light. The police uncover everything, arrest the boss for stealing company funds, and he is sentenced to several years in prison. As for the wife, she is left completely alone. No husband, no lover, no financial support. Now she is a single mother.
Emotional, damn it!
Forced to face the consequences of her own choices. In his new life, Liam begins by doing something far more exciting, the unboxing of his new robotic assistant. Her name is Amagi. From the very first moment, she assures him that she will always protect him and remain at his service no matter what. Curious about the state of his kingdom, Liam starts reviewing the merchandise and infrastructure under his control. This immediately shocks Brian, the royal butler. Brian explains that in this nation, robots are not well regarded. People fear them. Depending too much on Amagi could damage his reputation as king. Unsatisfied with such a vague warning, Liam demands more context. Brian then reveals a dark chapter of history. Long ago, an artificial intelligence known as Skynet rebelled, and humanity nearly went extinct. The world was saved only by a group of heroes who managed to defeat the machines. Those very heroes eventually became the royal lineage from which Liam now descends. That revelation raises an obvious question. If robots are viewed so negatively, why would his mother give him one? Brian hesitates but ultimately confesses the truth. Liam's parents did not leave for noble reasons. They abandoned him. They left him behind with all the family's debts. Although his great-grandmother once brought prosperity and fortune to the kingdom, his grandfather and father squandered it all. They wasted the wealth, drained the resources, and mismanaged everything. In simple terms, the planet is practically cooked. The citizens know it. Their only fragile hope is that their new king will not be as disastrous as the previous ones. Listening to this, Liam realizes something painful. In his past life, he was used and then discarded, and now, history is repeating itself. The difference is that this time, he refuses to be a victim. With renewed determination, he tells Amagi they will change this country, but before anything else, he must establish her rules. First, she must never allow harm to come to her master. Second, she must obey him in everything unless an order conflicts with the first rule. Third, she must preserve her own existence at all times. With those directives in place, Liam steps into a capsule designed to inject vast amounts of knowledge directly into his brain. It will teach him everything about this world, its politics, technology, magic, and history. The process requires him to sleep for 6 months. When those 6 months finally pass, Liam awakens taller, sharper, and more intelligent than ever before. During his slumber, Amagi governed the kingdom in his place, and she did surprisingly well. In fact, she built more robots than Elon Musk has ever produced. For the first time, Liam sees a massive mech up close. His eyes light up with excitement. His daughter in his past life used to love giant robots too, and for a brief second, he wishes she could see this. He climbs into one of the machines. Amagi explains that the mechs are controlled through magic. He simply has to think of the movements, and the robot will respond. Simple in theory, not in practice. No matter how hard he tries, Liam cannot defeat the opposing mech in training. Still, the frustration does nothing to extinguish his excitement. If anything, it fuels his desire to improve. He immediately asks Brian to find him a master who can teach him how to fight properly. That very afternoon, a legendary swordsman named Yasushi arrives. To demonstrate his skill, Yasushi leads Liam to the courtyard and, with a single motion, appears to slice through several logs without even touching them. The wood falls apart cleanly, as if cut by an invisible blade. Liam can hardly believe what he just witnessed. He orders Amagi to review the recording, convinced there must be a trick, but the footage shows the same thing. Yasushi never even unsheathed his sword. For Liam, that is proof enough. He immediately asks Yasushi to become his master. However, what Liam does not realize is that the swordsman is a fraud. The logs had already been cut beforehand. In another corner of the galaxy, Princess Leda attempts to negotiate peace with Goaz. She warns the bald tyrant to be careful. After all, he is the one surrounded. But the self-proclaimed mastermind only smirks. He already knows. In fact, he was the one who contacted the Space Federation. With arrogant confidence, he reveals that he bribed all the leaders involved. And now he will personally witness her planet reduced to ashes. Leda is captured, and in a scene worthy of Star Wars, her planet is completely annihilated before her eyes. 3 years pass. Back in the kingdom, Liam continues training under Yasushi, still unaware that his so-called legendary master is nothing more than a con artist. Yasushi spends Liam's money living comfortably, constantly inventing excuses to avoid teaching him the famous log-cutting technique. There is always a delay, always a new condition, always some mysterious reason why Liam is not ready yet. Even so, not everything is bleak. The kingdom itself begins to improve. The debts are still massive, but production increases steadily. However, Amagi detects something troubling, a constant diversion of funds. Money is disappearing regularly, and she cannot immediately identify the source. It is likely the very reason the kingdom's profits are not growing as they should. Because of this, Liam summons the politician responsible for overseeing those finances. At first glance, it is painfully obvious that the man is guilty. His nervous expressions, his forced composure, everything screams corruption, yet he refuses to admit it. Even then, Liam gives him one final opportunity to tell the truth. Instead, the politician shifts the blame. He claims that one of his employees was the one who diverted the money. The moment Liam hears those words, something freezes inside him. It is the same excuse. The same lie, the exact same strategy his former boss used to destroy his life. A powerful sense of déjà vu overwhelms him. His expression changes completely. The warmth disappears. Slowly, calmly, he approaches the politician and quietly says goodbye. Forever. Amagi gently attempts to calm him afterward, reminding him that better allies will come. Perhaps they will even be robots. That idea comforts Liam. He trusts machines far more than humans now. Meanwhile, the citizens of the kingdom whisper among themselves that things are improving. The new ruler prioritizes education above all else. Jobs are being created to build schools. For the first time in years, the future does not seem entirely hopeless. As for the fraud Yasushi, he searches desperately for another scheme to continue profiting without doing any real teaching. While snooping around the estate, he discovers a hidden door. Behind it lies an old mech. The moment he sees it, he doesn't see history, he sees money. He rushes to Liam, declaring that restoring this ancient machine will be his new mission. Liam must repair it and fight with it. Amagi is not convinced this is a wise idea, but her priority is supporting her master. Upon analyzing the mech, she discovers something remarkable. It once belonged to Liam's great-grandfather. Soon, an engineer named Nias arrives at the kingdom. She has traveled from far away to evaluate and potentially restore the robot. But after inspecting it, she bluntly tells Liam the truth. The model is outdated, obsolete. In modern battles, machines like this are no longer used. It simply isn't worth the investment. Liam listens and completely ignores her conclusion. He tells Nias that it doesn't matter. She should purchase new parts and upgrade it as much as possible. He wants it restored, no matter the cost. Yasushi, meanwhile, experiences a shock of a different kind. The moment he sees Nias, he is instantly captivated, completely smitten. But that admiration quickly turns into jealousy when he notices how naturally Liam interacts with her. Feeling threatened, Yasushi punishes Liam with meaningless, exhausting training sessions less about discipline, more about insecurity. Far away, however, someone else is suffering far more. Princess Lita remains imprisoned. The bald tyrant, whose mind grows increasingly unstable, conspires with his deranged doctor to improve her. His obsession twists into something grotesque. He even considers removing her eye and placing it in her hand so she can admire her own beauty forever. After several months of relentless work, Nias finally restores the old mech to perfection. It stands tall, once more polished, reinforced, upgraded beyond recognition. Now it is time to explain to Liam how it truly works. She tells him there is no autopilot, no external assistance, no hidden systems that will correct his mistakes. Everything depends entirely on him. Strangely enough, that excites him. He has spent months training for this very moment. And thanks to all the modifications, the mech is now more dangerous than any other model in existence. More importantly, only Liam can pilot it. It responds exclusively to him. Amagi congratulates him sincerely, acknowledging how far he has come. But Liam is not fully satisfied. Despite years of training, he still has not mastered his teacher's legendary technique. Then an idea forms in his mind. What if the logs were never cut by the sword? What if they were cut by magic? The blade was merely symbolic, a necessary representation, but the true power came from magical force. And if he cannot replicate it, then perhaps he simply lacks sufficient magical energy. With that realization, he trains obsessively, year after year, pushing beyond limits that should not even exist. Until one day, he achieves it. He cuts without touching, a technique so advanced it had never even existed in that world before. When Yasushi witnesses what Liam has accomplished, he freezes. The master suddenly realizes he has accidentally created something far beyond his control, a monster of talent and determination. Still, he masks his fear. With a stern face, he tells Liam that while he has learned the technique, he has not yet mastered all of his teachings. There is still a long road ahead. Soon enough, the perfect opportunity to test the new power arrives. Pirates attack one of Liam's Bitcoin mining planets. His fleet is outnumbered only 1/4 the size of the pirate armada. By all logic, defeat seems inevitable. But Liam does not hesitate. Descending from the clouds, he pilots his mech flawlessly. Combining precision control with his newly developed technique, he tears through enemy forces. Several pirate ships are destroyed instantly. The rest flee in terror from Liam and his towering machine. After the battle, Amagi reports the treasures recovered from the pirate vessels. Liam, however, only cares about gold and diamonds. Ironically, in this world, those materials are not particularly valuable, but the rare variants discovered aboard the pirate ships, those are worth a fortune. Meanwhile, Nias unveils her new line of ships designs focused on durability, defense, and efficiency. Practical, strategic. On the other side, Mori presents her own model, extravagant, luxurious, designed purely for status and appearance. Unsurprisingly, wealthy buyers prefer Mori's glamorous ships. The two engineers argue over their philosophies. Mori mockingly asks Nias whether anyone would even buy her crazy defensive designs. Instantly, one person comes to Nias's mind. Elsewhere, we see the guide once again a being who feeds on negative energy. He casually absorbs the frustration of a gamer whose cat just shut off his PC mid-game. That irritation alone sustains him. Curious about Liam's progress, the guide assumes the boy must be drowning in debt by now. Surely the kingdom has collapsed under financial pressure. But when he arrives, he shouts in shock. The kingdom has not declined, it has improved dramatically. Infrastructure, production, stability, everything is better. Entering a cavern within the estate, he senses Yasushi. Unlike Liam, the swordsman radiates negativity, especially when he speaks poorly of his own student. The guide absorbs that energy with satisfaction. Driven by curiosity, he opens a window to observe Liam directly and is stunned to discover that the boy has created an entirely new technique, something unprecedented. Later, Amagi informs Liam that many of their military units are outdated and must be replaced. Without hesitation, Liam purchases multiple new ships. He even declares that from now on, adults of certain ranks will also serve as soldiers. Nayas, of course, wants him to buy her ships as well. Determined, she approaches Yasushi and asks for advice on how to convince Liam. But Yasushi misunderstands completely. He thinks she is asking how to win him over. Flustered, he blurts out that to convince him, she should wear a skirt, a white blouse, and speak confidently. The moment the words leave his mouth, Yasushi panics internally. He has just described his personal preferences. Nayas, unaware of the misunderstanding, accepts the advice seriously. The next day, she approaches Liam, dressed exactly as instructed, presenting her proposal once more. However, Liam calmly informs her that he has already purchased numerous ships. Refusing to give up, Nayas applies every tactic Yasushi suggested: confidence, presentation, tone. But none of it affects Liam. Those strategies are painfully familiar. They remind him of his former wife. Still, he feels a bit sorry for Nayas' effort, so in the end, he purchases 200 of her ships. When the new ships finally arrive, there aren't just 200 of them, there are 300. Nayas, trying to shift Liam's attention, suggests that he should carefully inspect the pirate ships they captured during the last battle. Everyone gets to work, moving from vessel to vessel, until they reach the largest one. Inside, deep within the command room, Nayas discovers something unusual. The ship has a predetermined destination programmed into its system. They analyze it more closely and realize it leads directly to the pirates' hidden base. Even better, the location is nearly undetectable, perfectly concealed in a remote region of space. To Liam, that is pure music to his ears. If he conquers that base, he gains a massive hidden fortress for himself. There is only one problem. Goaz already knows he's coming. His surviving men informed him. Liam decides he must travel personally to confront Goaz. But even in an anime world, taxes exist. The officials inform him that every interplanetary journey requires payment, a significant one. Liam doesn't have enough liquid funds to cover the trip. His entire fleet is worth 70 million. Impressive, yes, but not enough for the immediate expense required. Meanwhile, Goaz, wealthy and corrupt, can travel wherever he wants without hesitation. Just like in real life, money bends the rules. Determined, Liam attempts to speak directly with the authority in charge of approving travel. He tries everything to gain access, but nothing works, until he notices a dog wandering nearby. For reasons he doesn't question, Liam follows it. The dog leads him into a restricted control room, the place where travel routes and coordinates are managed. Inside, Liam quickly notices several adjustable settings, including one particularly interesting detail: Goaz's destination. With careful precision, Liam alters the coordinates so that Goaz will arrive exactly where he plans to go. Once finished, Liam returns calmly and announces that the payment has been handled. On the other side of space, Goaz and his men begin to panic. The journey has taken longer than expected, and then they see a fleet waiting directly ahead of them. Liam steps out personally to confront them. The battle is swift and brutal. After defeating the enemy forces, he heads straight toward the largest ship. There, he meets something that deeply disgusts him: the Mad Doctor. Upon seeing the horrific experiments conducted aboard the vessel, Liam feels genuine revulsion. The cruelty is beyond anything he expected. Unable to tolerate it any longer, he ends the doctor's life without hesitation. Then he enters the experimental chamber and finds Leda, or rather, what remains of her. Broken, modified, suffering. Leda looks at him and pleads for death. She begs him to end her pain, but Liam refuses. He admits to himself that he intends to become someone evil, but not toward those who have suffered as he once did. Instead, he orders his men to transport the surviving victims to his own medical teams. When they return to the palace, Nias immediately resumes her campaign to sell more ships. Liam refuses at first, firmly. Yet somehow, Nias always manages to get her way. Watching her smile brightly as another deal succeeds makes Yasushi burn with jealousy. In response, he assigns Liam yet another meaningless training session. This time, he unleashes countless drones to overwhelm him. But Yasushi underestimates his student. Cornered and pressured, Liam suddenly remembers something fundamental: magic. In that desperate moment, he invents yet another new technique, a force field capable of repelling all incoming attacks. The drones crash uselessly against the barrier. Yasushi's face drains of color. Fear overtakes him completely. He realizes he can no longer pretend to teach someone who has surpassed him so dramatically. With trembling dignity, he declares that he has nothing left to teach Liam. He names him master and then runs away to save his own life. Liam never discovers that his teacher was a fraud. Instead, he feels nothing but gratitude toward Yasushi, and even toward the guide. Ironically, that gratitude displeases the guide. The guide feeds on negative energy, and Liam is no longer producing enough of it. Liam himself begins to question whether he has truly become as evil as he once intended. He concludes that a true villain must possess three things: money, women, and property. With renewed ambition, the young ruler sets his next plan into motion. He orders gold to be brought to him. Determined to complete his image of a true villain, Liam turns his attention to the matter of women. He summons the 100 most beautiful women in the kingdom to work under him. And yet, none of them interest him. In his mind, a real villain shouldn't be loved willingly. The woman by his side shouldn't want to be there. That, somehow, is how he imagines darkness works. Amagi gently reminds him of something far more practical. He still has no heir, no descendant. If he intends to secure the future of the kingdom, he should not delay. The idea doesn't entirely displease him, but still, no one captures his attention. Meanwhile, Leda awakens. She slowly realizes her body has been restored to normal. The doctors under Liam's command used an advanced treatment on her. The recovery will be painful, they explain, but successful. When she understands what has happened, tears stream down her face. She never imagined she would be herself again. Yet the physical pain is nothing compared to the memory of her planet being erased from existence. She also learns the truth: Liam was the one who saved her. In her heart, she begins to see him not merely as a ruler, but as a god, a savior. She vows to repay him however he wishes. A bar that once stood in ruins has been completely rebuilt. The streets are active, businesses flourish. The people speak highly of their ruler, openly saying that Liam is the best thing that ever happened to them. Once again, this development deeply frustrates the guide. According to his expectations, Liam's kingdom should have collapsed into misery and debt. Instead, it has transformed from a dying world into something almost dreamlike, prosperous, powerful, even respected by other planets that now pledge loyalty to him. The one truly spiraling downward is Goaz. After fleeing from Liam like a coward, he convinces himself that he can still strike back. Sensing an opportunity for chaos, the guide intervenes. He slips into Goaz's mind, feeding his pride and rage, amplifying his recklessness. Soon, Goaz decides he will attack Liam directly in his own kingdom. He orders his fleet to change course immediately. They are heading straight for Liam. Back in the palace, Liam is being pampered by his attendants. The food is exquisite. The attention is pleasant. He enjoys it, and yet something feels off. This doesn't feel like the atmosphere of a true villain. In his imagination, a villain's palace should be filled with alcohol and women excess and indulgence, or at least that's how he pictures it. Amagi offers to bring him as many women as he desires. Instead of answering directly, Liam asks her something unexpected. Does she feel comfortable with that idea? Amagi does not understand the question. From her perspective, he has no wife and no heir. Bringing him more women would be logical, even beneficial. Her highest priority is his well-being. Liam repeats the question. Would she feel uncomfortable if he married someone else? She answers honestly. She is an artificial intelligence. She does not fully grasp what he is implying. Her only directive is to ensure his happiness. After hearing that, Liam quietly changes his mind. He decides he does not wish to meet any more women. The kingdom barely has time to breathe before Goaz arrives, his bald head shining as he leads an entire army to their doorstep. At first, Amagi studies the situation carefully and realizes they are not attacking right away. They're waiting, surrounding the territory, slowly tightening the trap. That hesitation gives Liam's side a small window to think. Then Brian announces that Goaz has sent a formal letter. The demands are simple: money and attractive women. The words alone darken Liam's expression. Brian assumes it's pride or loyalty that angers him, but the real reasons are much simpler. Liam refuses to hand over even a single coin, and worse, Goaz is trying to outdo him as a villain. That irritates him more than anything. The numbers make everything worse. The pirates have 30,000 ships. Liam's fleet only has 5,000. The gap is overwhelming. Some officers suggest attacking immediately. Others recommend waiting for reinforcements. Amagi runs a combat simulation, and the result is brutal, a 3% chance of victory. Silence fills the room. Brian mentions that if the new ships were ready, their chances would improve. Liam hadn't even known about new ships. Before he can ask more, time suddenly stops. The guide appears and calmly reveals that he was the one who led Goaz here. He claims Liam was reincarnated into a struggling kingdom on purpose because hardship would force him to grow. Goaz, according to him, is simply another trial. Then time resumes as if nothing happened. Brian quickly explains that the new cannon model is called the Komodo 3000. With that, Liam makes his decision. They will fight. Several advisors protest, calling it reckless, but Liam confidently states that they will win. Brian feels anxious. The kingdom had only just begun to recover, and now pirates threaten to destroy everything. Amagi reminds him that while their odds are 3%, surrender guarantees 0. Liam understands that clearly. He even shouts toward the pirate fleet, sarcastically thanking them for delivering their treasure straight to him. From a distance, the guide watches with excitement, convinced that defeat will crush Liam and produce the despair he's waiting for. Goaz himself is eager, enjoying the idea of breaking a young ruler's pride. When the battle begins, Liam's soldiers are surprised by how calm he looks. But he isn't thinking about fear or death. He's thinking about the treasure he plans to claim. Suddenly, 500 ships appear above them. The fleet is forced to shift immediately. Amagi identifies the vessels. They are prisoners, forced into combat formations. Goaz is using them as disposable shields to create an opening in Liam's defenses. The cruelty of it makes Liam furious, but with no other option, he gives the order, and the ships are destroyed. Goaz notices that Liam's ships are pulling back, and he immediately takes the bait. Believing the enemy is retreating, he orders his fleet to advance, only to fall straight into Liam's minefield. Explosions tear through the front lines, but Goaz doesn't even flinch. He simply sends more ships forward to clear the path, treating the losses as insignificant. Watching this unfold, one of Liam's commanders steps forward and says they will move to the front to protect him, even if it means some of their men will have to say goodbye. Liam immediately rejects the idea. The commander insists that this is how war works, sacrifices are necessary. If it came to it, he would even give his own life for Liam. That's when Liam snaps. He declares that he is an evil king, and everything belongs to him. The ships, the soldiers, all of it. He refuses to lose a single vessel or a single man without his permission. Their lives are his property, and they are to protect them. That is an order. The speech reignites everyone's loyalty. Liam then announces that he will go to the front lines himself in his mech, ordering the others to follow. He leaves Amagi in command. The android quickly devises a new strategy and places Liam's ship at the very center of the battlefield formation. She informs everyone that their primary mission is to protect Liam at all costs. Ironically, this makes the soldiers trust artificial intelligences even more. They begin to believe the machines are more loyal than humans. Out in space, Liam dominates the battlefield with his mech, cutting down pirate after pirate. However, he soon faces another skilled swordsman. Impressed by Liam's technique, the pirate asks where he learned to fight like that. Proudly, Liam answers that he was trained by Master Yusushi of the School of Light. The pirate is confused. He claims to know every sword school in existence and has never heard that name. He bluntly tells Liam that he has been deceived. Liam cannot tolerate anyone insulting his master. He immediately pirate. More enemies arrive, and Liam defeats them as well, but his mech begins to fail. It wasn't built to withstand his special attacks. One of its arms starts malfunctioning. The pirates seem endless, and 2 of Liam's shields are destroyed. Even Amagi states that they are cooked, as their probability of victory drops to just 1%. To make matters worse, Liam's sword shatters. Even without a blade, he manages to defeat 2 more opponents, but soon the remaining pirates set up an ambush. Just when everything seems lost, reinforcements arrive. Leda appears, wearing a brand new suit of armor designed by Nias's rival. She doesn't come alone, she brings all her companions, and together they begin overwhelming everything in their path. Leda fights with wild intensity. She clearly has a few screws loose. Liam admits that she's not bad, but she's still not better than him. With pure force, he grabs the largest remaining blade and unleashes the biggest slash he has ever performed, wiping out all of Goaz's defensive ships in a single devastating strike. Because of that, Amagi recalculates the odds. Their probability of victory jumps to 83%. Liam continues his unstoppable advance. For him, it feels like a dream. All his life he was humiliated by others, but now he has the power and the skill to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Leda watches him with shining eyes and simply says she cannot wait to become Liam's wife. Morale across the fleet skyrockets as everyone watches Liam fight. The soldiers know his story, his parents abandoned him to his fate, and yet he managed to rebuild an entire kingdom that the galaxy had already forgotten. For many of them, it's the first time they've ever seen a king truly act like one. Liam pushes forward, and with his new technique, advancing isn't difficult. However, he's forced to stop when Goaz deploys a massive barrier. Liam doesn't have enough energy left to break through it on his own. For Amagi though, that's not a problem. She orders the entire fleet to advance. Together, their combined firepower tears a hole in the barrier. Goaz quickly tries to seal it, but Amagi attacks again at the perfect moment, giving Liam and the others the opening they need to slip inside. Realizing he has no way out, Goaz tries to flee like a coward. One of his men warns him that the ships are too tightly packed. Escaping would mean destroying some of their own allies. Goaz doesn't care in the slightest. He's practically shaking in fear, but it's already too late. Liam has arrived. Goaz attempts to escape in a small vessel, but Liam immediately notices and destroys it before it can get away. Excited at the thought of claiming new treasures, Liam boards the enemy flagship with his soldiers. One of his men warns him not to lower his guard. There are surely more pirates inside. He's right. It doesn't take long for them to appear. They mock Liam, calling him just another arrogant king who can't do anything on his own. Liam calmly swings his blade. Using the technique passed down by his master, he wipes them out in an instant. His soldiers can only think that they serve a truly great king. Some even joke that if they were women, they'd be in love with him. Eventually, they reach the command center, where Goaz's right-hand man is waiting. The alien is furious at having been abandoned. Feeling the pressure, he begs Liam for mercy, promising to reveal the location of the treasures and swear loyalty forever. One of Liam's soldiers immediately warns that the man can't be trusted. Liam agrees and doesn't even let the alien finish speaking before eliminating him. The only one truly frustrated is the guide. None of his plans have worked. In desperation, he does something he rarely does. He gives his own energy to Goaz. The pirate's body turns purple, his skin becoming so tough that ordinary blades can't cut it. His hair still doesn't grow back though. Bald and empowered, Goaz storms off to find Liam, while the guide escapes through a dimensional door, carelessly allowing another spirit to slip through. It's the first spirit, Liam's loyal dog. The little spirit guides Liam safely through the ship, leading him away from danger. Truly, a dog is man's best friend. Soon, Liam destroys a hidden wall and discovers the ship's treasure vault. Among the riches, one item immediately catches his eye, a beautiful sword. He picks it up instinctively, and it's a good thing he does. His soldiers urgently call him back. Goaz is overpowering everyone. Liam rushes to the scene. His old sword had done nothing to Goaz, but the new blade is different. It can actually wound him. Even so, the cockroach regenerates. The commander confirms that the monster in front of them is truly Goaz. Hearing that, Liam charges without hesitation. Goaz tries to defend himself, but he is no match. Liam blocks and overwhelms him again and again. Desperate, Goaz offers a deal. Spare his life, and he will reveal hidden treasures no one else knows about. Liam smirks like a true conqueror. Those treasures were already his from the beginning. Everything belongs to him, even Goaz's life. And with that, he finishes him. When Liam returns from the void, he reunites with Amagi. Back in the kingdom, everything has changed. The tavern now looks like a club for millionaires. People can finally live well thanks to everything Liam has accomplished. At the castle, Liam's accountant reports the total value of the pirate treasures. The number is astronomical. And yet, unbelievably, it's still not enough to pay off the massive debt his parents left behind. The accountant also informs Liam that Leda will soon arrive to present the progress of her medical machines. Thanks to her technology, the captured girls have finally been restored to normal. Leda shows up without hesitation and proudly presents the results to Liam. Not long after, Nias arrives as well. She quickly realizes that Leda is using the same aggressive sales tactics she usually relies on. Not wanting to fall behind, Nias decides she has no choice but to try her own pitch too. On a more serious note, Brian informs him that the organization wants to award him a medal for defeating the pirates, along with a substantial financial reward. The moment Liam hears the word money, he immediately travels to the organization's headquarters. But there's a problem. Waiting for him, there are his parents and even his grandparents. After hearing about Liam's overwhelming success, they suddenly claim to love him and want to reconnect. They even ask him to get rid of Amagi, the very android they once gave him, calling her nothing more than useless trash. Liam can tolerate insults directed at himself, but not at Amagi. Without hesitation, he tells them to get out of his life. He even offers them a generous sum of money on the condition that they disappear for good. They accept. However, in private, they begin plotting against him. They talk about setting a trap, planning to accuse Liam of tax evasion before a judge. The guide overhears their conversation and, seeing another opportunity, pushes darker ideas into their minds, encouraging them further. Fortunately, Liam's loyal spirit dog alerts Amagi. She secretly listens in and records everything, so when Liam's family appears before the judge to accuse him, the judge already knows the truth. Instead of believing them, the judge scolds them harshly. He tells them they should be ashamed of themselves. Liam has earned the respect of the entire galaxy. He warns that if they do not stay far away from Liam, he personally will make sure they face serious consequences. With no other choice, they leave in disgrace. Later, Amagi delivers long-awaited news thanks to the reward